To the subject we are discussing today, if you'll remember, there was a fire that took place in Delhi that caused the deaths of 17 people in a hotel. Now, when the agencies have decided to conduct random checks on all of these hotels, the hotel owners have said that they will go on strike because they're being targeted. At the end of the day, the question is about the safety of citizens. Why is it that hotel owners actually believe that they can flout the law and refuse to cooperate? Take a look.
12 February 2019. A massive fire engulfs Hotel Arpit Palace, leaving 17 dead and over 30 people injured. The cause of the accident was reported to be a blatant violation of fire safety norms that went unchecked. After mounting pressure, the Delhi government ordered 6 separate teams to check hotels across Delhi to ensure that all establishments are fire compliant. But the government now has to deal with another challenge. The Hotel Association in the national capital has refused to cooperate. They claim the fire safety compliance and rules are being used to harass them.
हम पूरी तरीके से कानून का पालन कर रहे हैं और कर रहे थे, लेकिन अगर एक इंसिडेंट की वजह से अगर आप सबको दोषी मान लेंगे तो वो ठीक नहीं है। आप हमारे से बातचीत कीजिए, हमारे को बताइए हमारी कहाँ का कमी है। अगर हम वो कमी पूरी नहीं करते तब हम गिल्टी है ना जी।
Mirror now did a ground check on the fire safety compliance of hotels. We didn't have to go too far to find violations. In Delhi's Paharganj area, we found hotels which were running in narrow lanes with unsafe electrical wiring.
You can clearly see on my behind that this is the narrow lane, and if we talk about the security measures, fire safety measures, this is clearly violation of that. If fire broke out, then how the fire departments, that the fire engines will go in this lane.
Mirror now asks, why are hotel associations against crucial fire safety checks in the city? Are local body netas backing hotel associations and emboldening them to raise their voice against mandatory fire safety checks? Why are citizens forced to risk their lives as hotels flout fire safety norms? Let's debate.
Well, there's a reason why we're refusing to let this story go, and I'll tell you why. Because most of our big cities are complete fire traps, especially Delhi. Delhi, our capital city, is shocking. Khan Market, the markets in M blocks of GK, Poscas, and other parts of the city where there are these narrow eateries that have no exits whatsoever, that have been functioning for years in cahoots with local government, all have the money to line the pockets of those who give them permission. What's happening in Delhi? And why is there no accountability even after 17 people have died? Joining me on the show, Anshu Tandon is the president of the Khan Market Welfare Association. Arun Gupta, the president of the Hotel Mahasangh. Ashish Sood for the BJP. Raghav Chadda, spokesperson of the Aam Aadmi Party. Vandana Kohli is a documentary filmmaker and comes in here specifically as the voice of the Delhi citizen. Kamal Mitra Shenoy is a political analyst. I welcome all of you to this conversation. And my first question is to Arun Gupta, the president of the Hotel Mahasangh. Mr. Gupta, please tell us, why is the Mahasangh not cooperating with the agencies right now who want to ensure that these hotels are safe? Arun Gupta, can you hear me? मेरी आवाज आप तक आ रही है अरुण जी?
हाँ, अब आ रही है आवाज, आ रही है।
हाँ, तो आप मुझे बता दीजिए, आप लोग
बीच में बंद हो गई थी, आ रही है।
हाँ, आप लोग कोऑपरेट क्यों नहीं कर रहे हैं?
किसने कहा हम आप कोऑपरेट नहीं कर रहे हैं? आपकी जानकारी में पता होना चाहिए आप लोगों को, ये जितने भी होटल चल रहे हैं कोई आज के चल रहे हैं? ये इतने सालों से होटल चल रहे हैं, बगैर कॉर्पोरेशन के चल गए, बगैर किसी परमिशन के चल गए। ये कहना बिल्कुल गलत है। सबसे बड़ी बात क्या है कि अगर आज एक हादसा हो गया
जी,
तो उसका मतलब ये नहीं लेना चाहिए कि हम लोग गलत तरीके से चल रहे हैं या हमने कोई गलत कार्य किया है। 17 लोगों की जान गई, हम उसके लिए पूरी तरीके से उस फैमिली के साथ में हमारी संवेदनाएं और हम उनके साथ खड़े हैं।
नहीं अरुण जी, आप मुझे ये बताइए,
कोई भी वायलेशन नहीं करते। वायलेशन जहां
आपका
हुआ,
कहना है कि आपके पूरे होटल महासंघ की सारे जितने होटल्स है सारे आप पूरे कंप्लाई करते हैं? ऐसा कोई वायलेशन नहीं है? एक भी होटल में वायलेशन नहीं है? खान मार्केट में नहीं है? हॉस्कास में नहीं है?
मैंने कब कहा कि उस होटल के अंदर वायलेंस, मतलब नहीं,
तो
नहीं, मैंने ये नहीं कहा मैडम। मैंने
तो फिर
ये
आप
कहा
बताइए
है
कि
कि
आप
हमारे जितने
क्या
भी
कह सकते हो कि
होटल्स
एक भी वायलेशन नहीं है
दिल्ली के
आपकी किसी
अंदर
भी
जितने भी होटल्स
एस्टैब्लिशमेंट
हैं।
में? आपकी मेंबर्स कोई भी वायलेशन नहीं कर रहे हैं अभी?
नहीं, नहीं, मैंने ये तो नहीं कहा। मैंने कहा अगर आप चेक करते हैं, अगर किसी के अंदर कोई गलती पकड़ी जाती है तो उसको मौका तो दोगे ना जी। आप किसी तरह का, मतलब आप क्या चाहते हैं? मतलब आज हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी पूरी दुनिया के अंदर इतना नाम और इतने यश हिंदुस्तान को दिलवाया है, टूरिज्म का इतना नाम हुआ है, टूरिज्म बढ़ रहा है। अगर आज हम इस चीज से हट जाते हैं या हमारे को आप जबरदस्ती बंद करा देते हैं, कहीं एक जगह गलती हो गई, हम उसके लिए गिल्टी
अरुण जी,
हैं।
आप मुझे एक चीज समझाइए, अगर आपके होटल में वायलेशन है तो आपकी होटल को बंद करनी चाहिए जब तक आप अपने वायलेशन को ठीक ना करें, क्योंकि आपके होटल में अगर वायलेशन है तो अगर आग लग गई तो लोग मर जाएंगे।
हमने कब मना किया इस बात के लिए?
तो बंद करने दीजिए ना, नहीं तो आप अपना वायलेशन ठीक कीजिए।
नहीं कहा कि अगर हमारे यहाँ एक मेरी बात तो सुन लीजिए ना जी। मैं जो बात कहने जा रहा हूं, आज की जो हमारी एक्टिविटीज हुई हैं, जो हम जीसी मिश्रा साहब से हमारी बात हुई है, डायरेक्टर अपने फायर के हैं, उनसे हमारी बात हुई है और शायद परसों हम मीटिंग रखने जा रहे हैं। होटल्स वालों के बीच में और फायर डिपार्टमेंट के बीच में एक मीटिंग होने जा रही है। अब बेवजह इस बात को तूल दिया जा रहा है, 17 लोगों की जान गई है, उसकी पूर्ति नहीं हो सकती। हम उस बारे में कुछ नहीं कह सकते, लेकिन हम सिर्फ इतना कह सकते हैं कि हम उन परिवारों के साथ खड़े हैं, हमारी संवेदनाएं उनके साथ है। हमसे जो बन पड़ेगा या हम जो भी मदद कर सकेंगे उन परिवारों की हम मदद करने को तैयार हैं। लेकिन बात आती है व्यापार की। व्यापार के अंदर अगर कहीं किसी के यहाँ कोई कमी पकड़ी गई तो उसके ऊपर आप एक्शन लीजिए। हमने कभी मना नहीं किया कि एक्शन ना लीजिए। एक्शन के साथ साथ में उसको मौका भी तो देंगे ना जी। अगर किसी के फायर इक्विपमेंट सारे के सारे ये जो चीजें होती हैं, मैकेनिकल चीजें होती हैं, अभी हम आपस में डिस्कस कर रहे हैं, डिस्कस करते करते अगर कैमरा की कनेक्टिविटी खत्म हो जाए तो इसका मतलब ये थोड़ी हो गया कि मतलब हम बातचीत बंद कर देंगे, उसके बाद में जब कनेक्टिविटी जुड़ेगी तब बात कर लेंगे।
नहीं अरुण जी पहले बात तो मेरे कैमरा से लोगों की जान जोखिम में नहीं डाले जाते, आप लोगों की जान जोखिम में डाल रहे हो। इसका मतलब आप हमें बता रहे हैं कि आज तक दिल्ली में आपके एस्टैब्लिशमेंट्स
आज एक हादसा हो गया,
बिना वायलेशन,
आज एक हादसा हो गया।
नहीं हादसे की बात नहीं है, 70 लोग मर गए।
प्लीज मेरी एक बात
नहीं अब मैंने आपकी बात सुन ली, मैं संतुष्ट नहीं हूं आपकी बात से। अरुण जी बस एक ही सवाल का जवाब दे दीजिए। आप सवाल सुन लीजिए, आप सवाल सुन लीजिए। अगर आपके होटल्स में वायलेशन है तो आपको लाइसेंस किसने दिया और लाइसेंस कहां से मिले आपको?
देखिए जी, जहां तक वायलेशन,
बोलिए।
आपकी आवाज नहीं आई, मुझे रिपीट करेंगे?
हाँ मैं रिपीट करूंगी। आपने कहा कि शायद आपके होटल के अंदर वायलेशन है और वो वायलेशन ठीक करने के लिए आपको समय देनी चाहिए। ऐसे रातों रात कोई एक्सपेक्ट नहीं कर सकता कि वायलेशन ठीक हो जाए। मेरा सवाल ये है कि इतने सालों से आपकी होटल चल रही है, आपके होटल महासंघ के अंदर वायलेशंस के साथ आपको लाइसेंस एनओसी किसने दिया, कैसे दिया, आप कैसे चला रहे हो? क्या गवर्नमेंट टाइम से आपके होटल में छानबीन नहीं मारती? क्या आपकी टाइम से आपकी चेकिंग्स नहीं होती? तो आपको हर साल एनओसी रिन्यू करना पड़ता है। कौन देता है आपको लाइसेंस और एनओसी, बताइए हमें।
अब मैं आपको सारी बात का, जरा मुझे टाइम दीजिए, मैं तरीके से आपको सारी बात का जवाब देता हूं। पहली चीज, हमारे को बगैर एनओसी के हम लाइसेंस नहीं मिलता। हमारे को फायर की एनओसी जब मिल जाती है तभी हमारे को लाइसेंस मिलता है। और लाइसेंस मिलने का मतलब ये नहीं हो जाता कि हम किसी तरह का वायलेशन करते हैं। जो भी फायर फाइटर्स के जो भी इक्विपमेंट्स होते हैं वो सारे हम इंस्टॉल करते हैं, उसकी पूरी तरीके से जांच होती है। फायर वाले उसको देखने के बाद में हमारे को लाइसेंस की एनओसी देते हैं और एनओसी के बाद में वो हमारे को लाइसेंस के लिए अप्रूवल देते हैं, जो दिल्ली पुलिस हमें लाइसेंस देती है। तब जाके हम उसको चलाते हैं। अब बात आ जाती है कि अगर कहीं वायलेशन एक होटल में अगर हो गया, ये अर्पित होटल का एक इंसिडेंट जो है, जिसको आप हादसा क्यों नहीं मानते? अभी तक तो ये जांच प्रक्रिया के अंदर चल रही है कि उसके अंदर हुआ क्या था, क्या उसके अंदर शॉर्ट सर्किट हुआ था, या उसके अंदर जो रेस्टोरेंट चल रहा था, जो नाजायज तरीके से चल रहा था, उसके अंदर आग लगी थी। तो ये सारी चीजें जब तक तय नहीं हो जाएं, आज 1600 होटल चल रहे हैं दिल्ली के अंदर, लगभग रोज डेली 60,000 के करीब जो टूरिस्ट आता है, उसके बारे में भी तो सोचिए ना जी।
अरे हम उसके बारे में ही सोच रहे हैं मिस्टर अरुण गुप्ता। एक मिनट let me just explain this to my audience. And मिस्टर अरुण गुप्ता, अगर आपको ये चीज समझ में नहीं आ रही तो शायद आपको होटल चलानी ही नहीं चाहिए। बात ये तहकीकात ये चीज की नहीं हो रही है कि शॉर्ट सर्किट की वजह से आग लगी। हमें ये नहीं जानना है कि किस चीज की वजह से आग लगी, और जब आग लगी तो लोग अपने कमरे से निकल नहीं पाए, लोग वो होटल से निकल नहीं पाए, वो होटल के अंदर फंस गए थे। ये प्रॉब्लम है, वायलेशन का ये रिजल्ट होता है मिस्टर अरुण गुप्ता। और अगर आपको ये चीज समझ में नहीं आ रहे तो पता नहीं आप कौन से होटल चला रहे हो और कौन से वायलेशन के होटल चला रहे हो। और अगर आपका कहना है कि आप सारे रूल्स को क्लियर करके तभी आप होटल चला रहे हो, तो फिर करने दीजिए ना इंस्पेक्शन। आप इंस्पेक्शन से क्यों इतने डर रहे हो? मुझे बाकी के अपने
40 साल से गेस्ट हाउस चल रहे हैं।
तो कैसे चल रहे हैं भाई, कैसे चल रहे हैं? अगर आप कह रहे हो कि आपके यहाँ कोई वायलेशन नहीं है तो करने दीजिए ना गवर्नमेंट को इंस्पेक्शन। आप क्यों डर रहे हो इंस्पेक्शन से? क्यों डर रहे हो आप इंस्पेक्शन से? क्यों स्ट्राइक पे जाने की आपने धमकी दी है?
कब गवर्नमेंट को मना किया है, कब हमने मना किया?
और आप टूरिस्ट के बारे में बात करें, टूरिस्ट कल अपने कमरे में आग में जल के फंस जाएगा तो आप क्या करेंगे? राघव चड्ढा of the Aam Aadmi Party. Raghav Chadha, please explain this to me. We understand there are 3 agencies that give NOCs and 1 final license for every organization before it runs a hotel in the city of Delhi. The Municipal Corporation of Delhi, the Delhi Fire Service, the Excise Department, the local police, in this case the Karol Bagh Police Station, and then the licensing authority. Now 2 out of those 4 report to the Delhi government. How have these hotels been functioning? And they're supposed to also do regular checks. How have these hotels been functioning if they're in violation of the law, Raghav Chadha?
Right. I'll quickly respond to this.
Please
you are right. There are 3 agencies essentially who gave permissions to these establishments to function. One is, of course, the Fire Services Department, which report directly to the government, the elected government, that is the Delhi government. One is the MCD, in which the Bharatiya Janata Party is in power, and the third is the Delhi Police. These 3 agencies give multiple certificates, no objection certificates, that are given to these establishments in order to enable them to function. Now, the certificate and the clearances given by the Delhi government are given once in 3 years, and at the time of awarding that clearance and the time of awarding that non-objection certificate, our officers visit that premises, go through the entire premises, the fire clearance, the fire exit, so on and so forth, and award that certificate. And the renewal is once in 3 years. Now, in between those 3 years, it's fairly and squarely the responsibility of the MCD and the Delhi police, both of which report to the Bharatiya Janata Party, to do an annual check and renew the annual health certificate, which is not concerned with the Delhi government and is fairly and squarely the responsibility of the MCDs. Now, what happened in Karol Bagh is a sad incident. I would say it's a collective failure. I am not here to politicize the matter. I am not here to say that BJP failed in doing its duty. I am not here to say that Aam Aadmi Party here failed its duty, because we clearly did not. We renewed the license at that point in time. There was no
what about
violation.
the excise department?
After the license was given by the Delhi government, there were multiple licenses. There were multiple violations done by the owner of that hotel. There was a rooftop bar, there was an AC plant, there was a gas cylinder plant. All these 3 units were built on the rooftop, which were absolutely not permitted and not there at the time of awarding this clearance certificate. Also, the fire exits that were there at the time of awarding the certificate were also dislocated. These fire exits were also nowhere to be found. So, at the time of awarding this clearance, all these things were there, but subsequently these were removed.
Okay.
It was fairly and squarely the responsibility of the MCDs.
Hang on.
And therefore, I would say just let me finish. I'll just take 30 more seconds. I completely understand as a Delhiite and as somebody who has been closely involved in the governance of Delhi, I can say this, that there is multiplicity of agencies in Delhi. There is multiplicity of responsibility in Delhi that leads to absolute chaos.
Okay.
That has led to an absolute chaos.
Okay, all right. Now, I have a very specific question, and I know that the Aam Aadmi Party wants to talk about your absolute chaos on a regular basis, but answer my question first. Excise Department reports to the Delhi government, the Excise Department has to give out a license for a bar. There was a bar that was obviously illegal, serving liquor on the rooftop and in the basement of this building that had excise clearances. We also know that the Excise Department is supposed to conduct a check once a year in March and reissue the NOC. That Excise Department reports to the government of Delhi. What happened there, Raghav Chadha?
Well, it does not. That's exactly my point. Even the excise government, whether you like it or not, and you can send your reporters who can give you this information, that the sad part is that even the excise department that you're talking about does not report to the elected government. This excise department reports to the lieutenant governor and not to the elected government of Delhi. That is the sad state of affairs. We've been howling and crying and shouting for the last 4 years that the governance structure in Delhi is so complex, and it has been made more complex after the Modi government came into office, whereby all powers and all agencies and subjects of administration that were there under the elected government's administration have been snatched away from them and have now been given to the lieutenant governor. Some of them are with the lieutenant governor, some of them are with the MCDs, and there is a complete
hang on. So you're telling me, Raghav Chadha, that between Connaught Place, Khan Market,
need to simplify governance of Delhi and give full statehood to Delhi.
Between Connaught Place, Khan Market, the various markets in horse cars, this particular market as well, that is a massive problem. There's nothing that the government of Delhi can do because nobody reports to you. You have no power. You have no ability. There's nothing that can be done from the... So give me one department that does report to you.
Well, Faye,
that you
can go on with your sarcasm.
Over.
I frankly, you see...
Because right now, the frustration really, Raghav...
Well, you can certainly go on with your sarcasm.
Okay.
But the fact is, I share your frustration. I am far more frustrated than you are. We are facing this on a daily basis. We got 67 out of 70 seats. After struggling for 4 years, people of Delhi voted us into power. We got the highest ever mandate in India's electoral history. My frustration is 100 times your frustration, Faye, because we face this on a daily basis. The BJP government at the center has paralyzed the bloody government of Delhi. They don't let us function. All bureaucrats report to the lieutenant governor. All these departments that you have just named report to the lieutenant governor. The chief minister of Delhi cannot even appoint his own stenographer, cannot even appoint his own peon. That is what the BJP has done to our federal structure.
Right.
That is what they have done to the elected government of Delhi, and a government that received the highest ever mandate. Number two, no, hear me out. Now you hear me out. Number one, as far as the fire department is concerned, yes, some aspects, some fire department officers do report to the Honorable Minister for Fire Services, and that minister has got 108 licenses cancelled in the last 3 days of various hotels that were operating across Delhi, and many such licenses will get cancelled as we speak. The fact is that the government of Delhi is doing all that it can with limited powers and with limited role that is the government of India has left us with. Rest all these subjects of administration, either as per the constitutional scheme of things or as per the dictatorial notifications issued by the Modi government, are now with the BJP, and therefore the BJP must be held responsible for this complacency and for destroying the federal structure of India.
Who's going to be held responsible. Raghav Chadha, I do want to point out to our audience that Delhi is not a very large space, and if you're telling me that the fire department that reports to the home department of the Delhi government has now gone out and issued notices to close several hotels that are actually in violation, why did we wait for 17 people to die in order to be able to do that? It is your job to do it anyway. But my question right now is to Ashish Sood, the spokesperson of the BJP. Mr. Ashish Sood, the BJP. I'll come back to you, Raghav. I'll come back to you, Raghav Chadha. Just 1 second.
We receive an annual certificate from the MCD. No, you are trying to paint a very wrong picture. We get an annual report from the MCDs. MCDs go to all these hotels and do an annual checkup, and it is based on that annual checkup that the fire department decides to take no action. We go there once in 3 years. We did that. At that time, there was no issue. It's subsequent to the awarding of that license, that clearance, that these illegal rooftop bars, illegal AC plants and illegal gas cylinder units were set up in complete violation of the law.
All right, Ashish Sood of the BJP. The BJP has been in power in the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, or the MCD, for the last 12 years. We know that Karol Bagh and all of these other areas have been problems. There have been tinder boxes, there have been fire traps. Please tell me, how did the MCD hand out NOCs, hand out licenses, hand out the NOC to the Delhi Fire Service? What's happening with the Excise Department? What's happening in the Karol Bagh Police Station? What's happening in the Licensing Authority? That these guys have been actually functioning and running these hotels. Who gave them permissions? Who in the MCD needs to be bribed in order for a hotel to get a license to function that is not fire safe? You'll give me names of people who are getting bribed, Mr. Sood?
Yes, I'll explain you everything. Raghav Chadha has been given 4 uninterrupted minutes to utter all the irresponsible lies. So I think he was given uninterrupted 4 minutes to utter all the lies. I think I'll be given a justified time to present the whole scenario. Number 1, what is the process of awarding a license? A building is built. Many people on the panel will, in their turn can prove me wrong if I am saying something wrong. A building is built. He wants to run a hotel. What permission he has to take at the first instance? MCD comes into the picture of awarding any license when the building gets a fire NOC. This fire NOC is given by the Delhi government. Once the fire NOC is given, we extend a health department extends a license to run a hotel or to run a restaurant, and the licenses for the bars are given by the excise department of Delhi government. So the primary license to run a hotel in a building is the fire NOC. And what rubbish Mr. Chadha is saying, that they are not responsible to go in 3 years.
1 second, Mr. Sood,
you have given
Mr.
a
Sood,
NOC,
Mr. Sood, Mr. Sood.
and someone is
I'm
violating.
holding Mr. Chadha. Please. If the two of you are going to get into a BJP versus Aam Aadmi Party fight, I will then continue the discussion without any of the politicians. My question to you, Mr. Ashish Sood, was about the accountability of the MCD.
Mr. No, this is unfair. This is unfair.
Unfortunately, when people die, politicians come onto shows and talk about how life is unfair to you. Life is not unfair to you, Mr. Sood. Nobody is being unfair to you. Life was unfair to the 17 people who died in the fire.
No,
I'll tell you why.
People are as important to me.
I seriously doubt that. Because you're now playing politics over these lives. Let me point out one more thing. The Municipal Corporation of Delhi gives an NOC of food and health. The NOC of food and health is renewed once a year.
Just listen to me.
No, you listen to me. The NOC of food and health is renewed once a year with an inspection that is conducted in March. Who conducted the inspection in the Municipal Corporation of Delhi in March to renew the food and the alcohol license in this hotel where both food and alcohol was being served illegally?
Are you here to debate or are you here to give us sermons? No, just listen to me. Just listen to me. Why Mr. Chadha is saying that the fire department does not go to visit the building once the fire NOC is given? Because against a sanctioned strength of 3,400 employees of the fire department, this department is working only with 1,700 people. And out of 1,700, 850 people
Mr. Ashish Sood, are you willing to talk about the Municipal Corporation of Delhi, or do you only want to talk about the Aam Aadmi Party? Are you willing to talk about the Municipal Corporation of Delhi?
The when Mr. Chadha talks about Modi government, you don't ask him, is he willing to talk about Delhi government? He talks about Modi government. Is Modi government responsible of giving licenses?
Okay, so you obviously don't want to. Let me just point out.
Is the federal structure,
1 second. Can I just speak to the audience? Municipal Corporation of Delhi issues an NOC. This is given. 1 second. Mr. Sood, if you don't want to talk about what we're talking about, it's fine. Let me just speak to the audience directly. The Municipal Corporation of Delhi first has to hand out a building structure NOC that is given based on just the plans of the building. It gives its NOC, then it is given a NOC for a structure to a permissible level. In this case, there was one more level that was built beyond the permission that was given by the MCD. Now, there was a lapse from the municipal corporation because they did not check that structure. Also, the municipal corporation gives an NOC of food and health that is renewed once a year with an inspection in March. Food was being served on the top floor and the basement, both of which had no permissions and were completely illegal. Who renewed that NOC? MCD is being run by the BJP for the last 12 years. The Delhi Fire Service gives an NOC when the hotel or the guest house is built. Every 3 years, they conduct an audit and reissue the NOC. The lapse from the fire service. They did not check if the norms were being followed, and this is true of various parts of Delhi. The Delhi Fire Service is also horribly understaffed and reports to the Aam Aadmi Party-led Delhi government. Also, the excise department actually gives out a license for a bar. Liquor was being served in the rooftop and the basement, both illegal. The excise department has to renew the license once a year and check once a year. That did not happen. The local police, the Karol Bagh police, is supposed to check on a regular basis. The beat constable is supposed to go and check. They did not check. The Delhi police has failed. There is a licensing authority. Every hotel, guest house and bar has to get a license renewed in March every year. That licensing authority failed. So we could spend all day talking about how the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP will constantly blame each other, but they collectively failed the citizens of Delhi. And we really have to ask about the MCD that has been running Delhi for these many years. Who in MCD is making how much money to hand out these licenses? Who in the fire department is making money to hand out these licenses?
Journalist, you mean to say a NOC will be given by a department and other department will go and verify it? A fire department will give NOC and other department, some third department will verify it every year. What kind of logic is this?
May I respond
what
to this?
kind of logic is this?
May I respond to this, please?
No,
and if the building was unsafe structurally,
one second.
why was
Anshu Tandon is the president of the Khan Market Welfare Association.
They are
Please,
cancelling
Mr.
fire
Sood, stop shouting.
Why some heads are
Anshu
not rolled in the
Tandon
fire
is the
department?
president of the Khan Market Welfare Association. Mr. Tandon, please explain to us the level of corruption in these organizations right now. And as someone who actually works with the Welfare Association of Khan Market, do you believe that these structures are safe for citizens and for patrons of these restaurants and hotels?
So let me inform you and the viewers and the panelists that in 2017, two rooftops collapsed in Connaught Place. Thereafter, NDMC sent individual notices to each and every property in Khan Market and in Connaught Place. And the association took on the responsibility and the onus to get structural stability certificates from approved, certified NDMC structural stability engineers. And we submitted those, and those were accepted. So let's get our facts right. I'll only restrict myself to Khan Market because I'm only well versed with the, facts and ground realities of Khan Market. These are only 2.5-story buildings, and you cannot, under any circumstances, go beyond 2.5 stories, period. There are no properties there where the floors have been exceeded. So, and it is in Luton's Delhi, and it is strictly forbidden. NDMC carries out regular checks, and in case there is any violation, even a minor violation, an immediate notice is issued. Now, coming to the licenses, NDMC is the agency that issues the health license. Now, under the Unified Building...
Mr. Sood, there is a citizen that... Mr. Sood,
may I just...
we would be grateful if you listened to other panelists, Mr. Sood.
If I'm not permitted to say my version, and if you want to have one side of the story, then there is no point inviting us. What is this?
Please, okay.
You give 10 minutes to Raghav Chadda, speak all lies, and you don't let me speak.
No, you must appreciate, I will only speak about Khan Market. I'm not a technical person that I can give my expert comments on other areas.
You can
Karol
speak,
Bagh, there
you
was a
can give
violation.
your version, but this cannot happen. That Aam Aadmi will speak all rubbish and I will not be permitted. If I am not permitted to speak, then there is no point sitting here. You can continue with your debate.
Right, Mr. Sood, if you want to leave, you're welcome to leave.
And
One
if you
second.
don't want to give me an opportunity to put
One
my
second.
point of
Mr.
view
Sood, if you
across,
want to
then I'm
leave, you're
sorry, I
welcome
don't
to
have
leave.
anything to
Thank you
say.
very much.
So if
I
you
would like to hear the colleague.
Right, I'm just going to cut across to Kamal Mitra Shinoy, who's our political analyst. Professor Shinoy, unfortunately, politics still takes precedent when we're talking about the death of 17 people and the possibility of more people dying. Business comes first, politics comes first. Nobody's actually willing to solve the problem. Kamal Mitra Shinoy.
Well, look, I think there are differences and there are also some strengths. I regularly go to Khan Market. I've seen how Khan Market has been changed. Structures have been strengthened. There are stairways now which allow people to go down in comfort. So it's not that nothing has happened. And in the area where I live in Sundarnagar, and I move around in Sundarnagar Market, also there are changes. But there are not enough changes in the sense that there is a regular checkup in some areas by the authorities. And in fact, what happens, I know in Sundarnagar, is that the association has been going up and asking questions on why there is a restaurant on the first floor or why there is something thought of on the second floor. So there has to be more kind of attention by the authorities, and they must respond to the requests from the people in the area. There's no point arguing against each other. We are all in this together, and I think that probably it's pretty right that we don't have enough people for fire licenses. It is also true that despite the Supreme Court, the Aam Aadmi Party didn't get the powers it thought it should, but that happens in many cases. But I think the main thing is, what is going to be the role of the people in various colonies? How are they going to interact with others and make it a more congenial and safe livelihood neighborhood? If that does not happen, these things will continue happening, and we should not have this sad spectacle of people making political actions against the other. I'm not saying that they're unfair, but unless one works together, there is going to be difficulties. And I think there must be more regular checks. I know it is different for certain types of establishments, especially where there are more than one story, but something has to be done to make this much safer, because another fire may well happen, and many people will give excuses for it. But the basic structure of how this function of protecting the city is concerned, I don't think is complete.
Well, both politicians have left the conversation, and I can see with a reasonable amount of confidence the quality of the conversation will now improve. Arun Gupta is with the President Hotel Mahasangh. Arun ji, आपको कुछ कहना था, आप बताइए. अगर कोई वायलेशन नहीं है, तो फिर आप इंस्पेक्शन क्यों नहीं करने देते?
देखिए, मैं आपको दोबारा एक बात कह रहा हूं कि जिस तरीके की ये राजनीति वाली बातें कर रहे हैं, ये पॉलिटिक्स का मैटर नहीं है. राघव चड्ढा जी जिस तरीके की बातें कर रहे हैं, कॉरपोरेशन के ऊपर डाल रहे हैं या कॉरपोरेशन वाले फायर के ऊपर डाल रहे हैं, तो आपकी जानकारी में ला दूं कि इतने सारे गेस्ट हाउस चल रहे हैं दिल्ली के अंदर, और ये पिछले 50 सालों से चल रहे थे. आज इस बात को क्यों नहीं मानने को लोग तैयार? आप लोग क्यों इसको बेवजह इतना ज्यादा तूल दे रहे हैं? 17 लोगों की जान की कीमत हम भी समझते हैं, उसकी भरपाई नहीं हो सकती, लेकिन ये इतने सारे होटल जो चल रहे थे, इतने सालों से चल रहे थे, इतने गेस्ट हाउस जो चल रहे थे, सारी परमिशन के साथ में चल रहे थे, सारे वायलेशन, इसके अंदर कोई वायलेशन तब तक नहीं पाएगा जब तक ये आग नहीं लगी. आज जिस तरीके से फायर वाले जिस तरीके से चेकिंग कर रहे हैं, वो चेकिंग के अंदर थोड़ी सी दिक्कत ये है कि वो लोग 2007 के बाद के और 2000 के और 90 के नॉर्म्स को तीनों को क्लब कर रहे हैं, जबकि हर होटल के लिए, हर गेस्ट हाउस के लिए अलग अलग नॉर्म्स हैं. सबसे बड़ी बात यह है कि ये सारे गेस्ट हाउस हैं और गेस्ट हाउस के अंदर किसी तरह की कमर्शियल एक्टिविटीज अलाउ नहीं है. यह बात समझने का प्रयास क्यों नहीं किया जाता? नंबर ऑफ होटल्स जो हैं वो, उसको मैं कहता हूं, जो अगर वहां पर रेस्टोरेंट चला रहे हैं वो गलत कर रहे हैं. सिर्फ हमारे को परमिशन गेस्ट हाउस की है. गेस्ट हाउस मतलब लॉजिंग हाउस, सिर्फ ठहरने की परमिशन है. अगर इस चीज को देखकर, अगर इस चश्मे को पहनकर अगर जांच की जाएगी तो बिल्कुल ठीक बैठेंगे। आज आप वुडन फ्लोरिंग की बात कर रहे हैं, आज आप हाइड्रेन की बात कर रहे हैं, आज आप फायर अलार्म की बात कर रहे हैं, जो छोटे छोटे होटलों पे एप्लीकेबल ही नहीं था। जब आपने होटल का एनओसी दिया 96 के अंदर, 97 में, 98 में, 2000 में, तब जो नॉर्म्स थे वही नॉर्म्स को फॉलो करते हुए आप लगातार हमारे को एनओसी दे रहे थे। आज नए कानून बनाकर आप अगर चेक करेंगे तो आपको वायलेशन नजर आएगा।
एक चीज अरुण जी, एक मिनट, आप बात सुन लीजिए। कानून चेंज नहीं हुआ है, कानून हमेशा वही रहा, फायर सेफ्टी नॉर्म्स हमेशा वही रहे, कानून चेंज नहीं हुआ है। आपको आज तक
तो कानून ने कहा कमी करी? कानून ने तो उठा के मालिक को अंदर कर दिया ना जी। क्या होटल महासंघ उसको कह रहा है कि आपने गलत किया है? अगर उसको अरेस्ट किया है, हम क्या उसके फेवर में खड़े हैं? क्या कोई भी होटलियर, कोई भी एसोसिएशन उसके फेवर में खड़ी है क्या? आप बताइए, कौन निंदा नहीं कर रहा कि 17 लोग मरे हैं? जो 17 लोग मरे हैं उसकी घोर निंदा हो रही है, उसके लिए संवेदना प्रकट की कर दी गई। अगर देश के अंदर पुलवामा वाला किस्सा नहीं हुआ होता, वो हादसा उससे भी बड़ा दुखद हादसा हो गया, जिसकी वजह से हम कोई कार्यक्रम नहीं कर पाए। वरना होटल
का नाम मत ले लीजिए। अंशु टैंडन, if someone could just help me explain to Arun Gupta the fact that the regulations have not changed. So obviously, if they have been running guest houses or hotels that are in violation of the Fire Safety Act or the fire safety rules, it's through corruption. And it is now because of this incident now that the corruption has stopped and been set aside.
होटलों के लिए कह रहे हैं, गलत कह रहे हैं आप।
अच्छा,
ये बात आपको बदलनी पड़ेगी। सबसे पहले आपको इस बात को समझना पड़ेगा कि वायलेशन उस चीज को माना जाता है जो कानून का पालन ना करे।
अच्छा, एक मिनट, अरुण गुप्ता, मेरी आवाज आप तक आ रही है? मेरी आवाज आप तक आ रही है?
यस, करेक्ट।
मेरी आवाज आप तक आ रही है?
आ रही है मैडम।
अच्छा, वेरी गुड,
आ रही है।
आप मुझे एक बात समझाइए, होटल में टूरिस्ट आके रहते हैं या गेस्ट हाउस में टूरिस्ट आके रहते हैं? उन टूरिस्ट और आप, उन टूरिस्ट की जान की कोई मतलब मौल होती है? उनकी जान को जोखिम में डाल सकते हैं आप? नहीं। तो जब तक आपके होटल
हमने कब कहा आपको इस बात के लिए?
ठीक है, वेरी गुड।
हमने कभी ये नहीं कहा कि हम टूरिस्ट की, हम कहते हैं, हमारा स्लोगन है अतिथि देवो भव। हमारे लिए जो भी टूरिस्ट है वो भगवान का रूप है और हम उनके लिए हर तरीके की सुविधाएं देते हैं।
सुन तो लीजिए अरुण गुप्ता जी, आप सुन लीजिए। अगर किसी होटल में अभी आग जब लगी तो बाहर निकलने का रास्ता नहीं है, कि फायर सेफ्टी सर्विसेज नहीं है, तो जायज सी बात है कि वो होटल को बंद करके उसको नोटिस देके जब तक ये सेफ ना हो जाए उनको बिजनेस ना करने दे। इससे आपको क्या प्रॉब्लम है बताइए मुझे? रूल्स चेंज नहीं हुए, मैं आपको सच बताती हूँ।
तैयार है, हमने कब मना किया इस बात
तो
को?
फिर आप लोग स्ट्राइक पे क्यों जा रहे हैं?
मैडम, एक मेरी बात सुन लीजिए कि नॉर्म्स तो वही लागू होंगे ना जी। नॉर्म्स भी तो देखिए ना, आप नॉर्म्स कैसे बदल सकते हैं? जब तक जिस होटल को जिस सन के अंदर जो नॉर्म्स दिए गए उसी नॉर्म्स के ऊपर तो खड़े होंगे हम, उसी नॉर्म्स को तो हम फॉलो करेंगे।
तो नॉर्म्स तो चेंज नहीं हुए, तो फिर आपकी प्रॉब्लम क्या है? नॉर्म्स को किसी ने चेंज नहीं किया है।
तो राकेश गोयल आज जेल के अंदर है तो कौन सा होटल वाला खड़ा है उसके फेवर में?
मैं ये नहीं कह रही हूँ कि आप राकेश गोयल के साथ खड़े हैं, मैं ये कह रही हूँ कि आप लोग रेजिस्ट क्यों कर रहे हैं, आप कोऑपरेट क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो?
किसने कहा? कोई सरकारी, मतलब मुझे बताइए, कोई फायर वाले हमारे खिलाफ कोई बात कह रहे हैं क्या? फायर वाले ये कह रहे हैं कि होटल वाले कोऑपरेट नहीं कर रहे?
आप कह रहे हैं कि आप स्ट्राइक पे जाएंगे, ये हैरेसमेंट है। कौन आपको हैरेस कर रहा है बताइए मुझे, कौन आपको हैरेस कर रहा है?
सारे होटल अगर बंद हो जाएंगे तो क्या विकल्प क्या है आपके पास में?
बंद होने दीजिए, अगर सेफ ना हो तो बंद ही होनी चाहिए आपके सारे होटल्स।
तो हमने कब मना किया? हमने कब मना किया है मैडम? जानों से खिलवाड़ हम नहीं करते। आप बार बार एक बात कह रहे हैं, मैं कह रहा हूं जब किसी तरह की कमर्शियल एक्टिविटीज अलाउ ही नहीं है, हम तीनों डिपार्टमेंट को एनओसी लेते वक्त एफिडेविट,
होटल ओनर्स की एसोसिएशन ये क्यों कह रहे हैं कि आप लोग स्ट्राइक पे जा रहे हैं, आपको हैरेस किया जा रहा है?
और दिल्ली पुलिस को भी देते हैं कि हम कमर्शियल एक्टिविटीज नहीं करते।
तो फिर आप ये क्यों कह रहे हो कि आपको हैरेस किया जा रहा है?
नहीं, हैरेस तो मैं जो बात कह रहा हूँ, हैरेस आप शब्दों का प्रयोग गलत कर रहे हैं। हमारे को परेशानी सिर्फ ये है कि जिस कंडीशंस के अंदर हमें लाइसेंस दिया गया है उस कंडीशन को आप चेक कीजिए ना। आप नई नई चीजें क्यों थोप रहे हैं हमारे ऊपर? हमारी दिक्कत ये है कि हमारे को परेशान इसलिए लग रहा है, परेशान हम इसलिए हो रहे हैं कि जिसको जिस चीज का लाइसेंस दिया गया उस चीज की जानकारी करे ना। आपने एनओसी दी है हमारे को फायर सिलेंडर के ऊपर, अब आकर आप उसके अंदर हाउस रील देख रहे हैं तो हाउस रील कहाँ मिलेगी उसके अंदर। अब आप उसके अंदर आके फायर अलार्म सिस्टम देख रहे हैं, फायर अलार्म सिस्टम कहाँ मिलेगा आपको। जो पुराने होटल हैं जो 90 के आसपास के बने हुए हैं उनके नॉर्म्स कुछ हो रहे हैं और 2000 के नॉर्म्स कुछ हो रहे हैं और 2007 के बाद में कुछ हो रहे हैं। जिसने भी वायलेशन किया उसको आप पनिश कीजिए, हम मना नहीं कर रहे इस बात को।
One last point of view from Vandana Kohli. Vandana, it's obvious that the hotels that were built before 2007 are not compliant at all, and now they're shocked at being asked to be compliant to the latest rules. It's really scary for citizens in Delhi.
Sorry, Faye, could you repeat the last part of your question?
According to Arun Gupta, Vandana, they were always compliant, but someone's just changed the rules of fire safety. He also says that the hotels that were built before 2007 followed a different set of rules, and they're now being asked to comply with a new set of rules. Obviously, there's a lot of confusion in the way Delhi is run. There is a lot of confusion with fire safety, and that just amounts to disregard for people's lives. Vandana.
Absolutely, absolutely, Faye. There's no doubt about that. And as I've seen on the program, there was someone from the representative from the Aam Aadmi Party said very graciously that I don't want to politicize this issue, and then he did exactly that. It seems that nobody wants to hold the bull by its horns. There have been change in norms, it's evident. Old hotels have not been checked regularly. All the inspections that should have happened on the ground, a yearly inspection or a 3-year inspection or a 3-month inspection has not been done. Basically, I think that is the root of all the problem. That what should be done on a regular basis has not been done. Now there's been a disaster and suddenly everybody is supposed to comply. So obviously there are going to be a lot of problems for people who are running hotels, for tourists who want to come in, as well as for the authorities, because what should have been done in the process of time has not been done. And I think, this is the second time we've been discussing it. I think really this is the time that all we need is for people to do what their job is. If we were to follow that, we'd be a great country. If the fire department does its checks, if the excise does its checks, if everybody else does its checks, we'd be a great country.
Well, we've unfortunately run out of time, and I want to apologize to my viewers that so much of this conversation was spent in listening to politicians actually just blame each other over the lives of 17 people. The truth is, a lot of these spaces in Delhi are just hot messes of violations. And they're hot messes of violations because NOCs are being handed out by agencies that are not responsible. And while it might seem like a good, quick way for these guys to make money, what it means is that when there is a short circuit, people die. There's only one thing left to do as citizens. Before you go anywhere at all, before you stay in a hotel, before you sit down to dinner at a restaurant, before you go anywhere at all, check for the nearest fire exit. Imagine how all the people who are sitting in that restaurant will run down the spiral staircase to exit into that narrow street. Especially if you're in Delhi, you know what I'm talking about. Don't sit down if you can't see a clear fire exit. It's as simple as that. Secondly, if you see that there is a violation, and it's not difficult right now to just read up on what the rules are, call it in, make a complaint. Track which agency is ignoring your complaint. And of course, vote more responsibly. Thanks for watching.